Places of isolation, seclusion, and obscurity are the one invisible on every continent. Whether they're separated by thousands of miles of ocean, protected by indigenous inhabitants, or require specific modes of transportation, many of these secluded environments and communities can only be reached through once-in-a-lifetime journeys, undertaken by the bravest of adventurers. In order to learn more about the world's most remote locations, keep watching the video. Number 15. Barrow, Alaska. Barrow, Alaska is located above the Arctic Circle and is the northernmost city in the United States. Barrow has no road access, so all visitors must arrive by air or sea. Barrow, known for having approximately 2 months of darkness during the winter, makes up for this with more than 80 days of continuous daylight from May to July. It is cut off from the rest of the world due to severe weather conditions and different day and night shifts. Number 14. Tristan da Cunha, United Kingdom. Tristan da Cunha is more than 2,000 miles from South American shores and 1,700 miles from the nearest coast, which is in South Africa. This island is expected to experience a total solar eclipse on December 5, 2048. Tristan da Cunha was severely damaged by the extratropical cyclone of 2001, the fire that broke out in 2008, and the massive oil spill that threatened the Nightingale Island penguins in 2011, which were sent to Tristan da Cunha for recovery. It has a population of less than 300 people, no restaurants, hotels, or airport, and is only accessible by a 7-day boat journey. Number 13. Socotra, Yemen. Socotra, the largest of the 4 islands that make up the Socotra archipelago in Yemen, is a planned paradise lovers describe as the most alien-looking place on Earth. Socotra, one of the most isolating landforms on Earth, is home to an abundance of inscriptions, drawings, and archaeological sites dating back to the 1st and 6th centuries BCE. This gem of the Arabian Sea is home to approximately 700 plant species, 37% of which are found nowhere else on Earth. The Galapagos of the Indian Ocean is 400 miles from Sana'a and is home to 40,000 people and a strange-looking tree known as the dragon's blood tree. Dracaena cinnabar. Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans all exploited Socotra's natural resources, such as the dark red sap of dragon's blood tree, primarily used for healing and painting, medicinal extracts of plants, and resin. Socotra was deemed a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008 due to its pristine landscape and rich biodiversity. Number 12. Pitcairn Islands, Southern Pacific Ocean. A group of 4 volcanic islands in the Southern Pacific Ocean, the Pitcairn Islands are also British overseas territories. Only one, Pitcairn Island's 2-square-mile landmass is inhabited. According to the government's website, the inhabitants of Pitcairn are descendant from the mutineers of HMAV Bounty and their Tahitian companions. In the decade following a 2004 scandal involving child sexual abuse, in which the mayor and 5 other men were imprisoned, Pitcairn's island population decreased. Since then, the government has attempted to provide free land for community expansion. According to the 2013 Pitcairn Island Economic Review, there were 49 inhabitants. It is still under isolation and attempting to attract people. Number 11. The Kerguelen Islands. The Kerguelen Islands, also known as the Desolation Islands, are a group of islands in the Antarctic located in the super southern portion of the Indian Ocean, covering a total area of 2,400 square miles or 6,200 square kilometers. La Grande Terre, which was discovered by Yves Joseph de Kerguelen Tremaric on February 12, 1772, is the largest island in this region and is surrounded by massive active glaciers. This remote group of islands is currently inhabited by 50 to 120 French scientists, engineers, and researchers because it serves as a weather base and is only accessible by sea. The highest point of La Grande Terre, Mount Ross, in the Gallieni Massif, rises to an altitude of 1,850 meters on the southern coast. Due to frequent high winds throughout the year, the weather on the islands is extremely harsh and chilly. Number 10. Easter Island. With more than 1,200 miles separating Easter Island from the nearest inhabited island to its east and more than 2,200 miles separating it from Chile, this is one of the most remote locations on Earth. Despite its remote location in the South Pacific Ocean, many people are familiar with and can identify the moai statues carved by Polynesian settlers. This demonstrates the culture's widespread influence despite its isolation from continental landmasses. Number 9. McMurdo Station, Antarctica. We all are aware that Antarctica is one of the most difficult places to live on Earth, and that everything there is as remote as it can possibly be. With no native inhabitants, the only visitors are scientists, military personnel, and artists. McMurdo Station is located on the southernmost tip of Ross Island and is regarded as one of the most isolated locations on Earth. The Chapel of the Snows is one of the 8 Antarctic churches and is located in this frigid and subsurvivable region. Number 8. Barra Island, Scotland. Barra is the Outer Hebrides' southernmost inhabited island. With a population of just over 1,000, the 10-mile-long island provides ample space for exploration. Barra is only accessible via a tiny propeller plane that lands on a sandy beach. The runway disappears with changing tides, dictating when visitors can arrive and depart. Without a doubt, the flight is breathtaking. Number 7. Devon Island, Canada. Devon Island, known as Talrutit in Inuktitut in Canada's Nunavut Territory, is the world's largest uninhabited island with a landscape so cold, rocky, and isolated that scientists have spent 2 decades there pretending it's Mars. The seasonal simulation expeditions are centered on and named after the 12.5-mile-wide, 23-million-year-old meteorite impact crater on Devon Island known as Houghton. Since the 1990s, this is where NASA has tested robots, spacesuits, drills, and other space equipment. You will remain a considerable distance from the nearest civilization. Cornwallis Island, which has a population of approximately 200, is located 50 miles away. Number 6. Inuktitut, Greenland. Inuktitut in Greenland, with a population of 450, is one of the most remote human settlements on Earth. This isolated land was established in 1925 by settlers from Tasalak and a few families from West Greenland in the eastern portion of Greenland, between Northeast Greenland National Park and Scoresby Sund Fjord. With the addition of blue, green, red, and yellow wooden huts, the Inuktitut landscape is further enhanced and embellished. Here you can observe animals such as polar bears, seals, walruses, narwhals, and musk oxes. Inuktitut is only accessible by helicopter or cruise, but the location is well worth the effort because of the tranquility of viewing the aurora borealis. Number 5. Oymyakon, Siberia. Oymyakon, located in Siberia, is the coldest city in the world, with a record low temperature of -69.2 degrees Celsius. Around 470 people reside there, enduring the 3-hour short days and approximately 21 hours of daylight in June. Both the population and land area of Oymyakon have decreased significantly over the past decade. In 2018, the regional headcount decreased from 2,500 to less than 900. This region is the coldest and most permanently inhabited on the planet, despite being perpetually frozen, but still considered to be alone. Number 4. Apolima, Samoa. Apolima Island, the smallest of Samoa's 4 inhabited islands, is the edge of an extinct volcanic crater. This remote location has a maximum elevation of 165 meters, an area of less than 5 square kilometers, a population of less than 1,000 people, and is only accessible by boat. The island may be small in size, but it is surrounded by rugged cliffs and contains pristine blue waters and breathtaking forest foliage. The island's bay is only accessible through a narrow, turbulent tunnel. Number 3. Villa Las Estrellas, Antarctica. Villa Las Estrellas is a Chilean village and research station with fewer than 200 inhabitants located on King George Island, approximately 75 miles off the Antarctica coast, and nearly 2,000 miles from southern Chile. The nearest major hospital is 600 miles away, so residents are required to have their appendixes removed prior to arrival, according to the BBC. Villa Las Estrellas, Spanish for Town of the Stars, was founded in 1984. The community consists of 14 homes, a bank of credit branch, a public school with fewer than a dozen students, a post office, a gymnasium, a hotel, and a souvenir shop. The majority of residents are scientists or Chilean military personnel. Unfortunately, dogs are not permitted because they could introduce canine diseases to the fragile Antarctic wildlife. Residents can only catch glimpses of the adorable Adelaide penguins and elephant seals. Number 2. Longyearbyen, Norway. This is one of the northernmost towns of reasonable size on Earth. In 1950, Longyearbyen passed a law prohibiting burials in this frigid region because the frozen ground would mummify bodies forever. There is a running joke that it's illegal to die in Longyearbyen, and locals are required to carry firearms for protection against polar bears. This unique town on the Svalbard archipelago has 2,100 inhabitants from a variety of nations. It is so isolated because of the severe weather conditions. Number 1. North Sentinel Island. Not long ago, the inhabitants of North Sentinel Island, the Sentinelese, were cut off from the rest of the world. A small group of islands located in the Bay of Bengal off the northwest coast of Indonesia are surrounded by crystal clear water. The 572 islands of the Indian archipelago have been explored by humans for eons. Even though several surrounding islands are popular tourist destinations, North Sentinel Island remains shrouded in mystery. Due to North Sentinel's remote location, far from major shipping lanes and surrounded by a shallow reef with no natural harbors, its native Sentinelese population has been largely uncontacted for at least 60,000 years. They attribute this in part to the Indian government's protective legislation and in part to the intense protection of their home and privacy. South Asians and residents of other islands in the Andaman Sea avoid North Sentinel Island and its waters because they are aware that the Sentinelese will reject any attempts at communication. If you want to avoid touristy destinations on your next vacation, try one of the most secluded regions on Earth, some of which are only accessible by boat or plane.